This is Jason with Guardian Home Inspection. I'm coming at you today from a new home. I've had a little bit extra time and I've been carrying around a bunch of questions that people have asked, and I just want to take a moment and answer some of them. So the first question is why do I even need a home inspection? And the answer to that is because we find an awful lot of defects in the homes. In an average home, we'll find several $100s worth of defects, generally speaking. Sometimes we'll find thousands. Now, not all defects need to be repaired, but you should at least be informed about them. And very often you can take a moment and ask the seller to repair some of those items, and oftentimes they will. And at which point you will more than likely have been reimbursed for the home inspection, at which point it would cost you virtually nothing. In this market and at this time, sellers often will just say, no, we're not going to repair anything, the home is as is. And if that's the case, then at least you'll have the peace of mind knowing what you're buying, and you won't end up buying a home that has too many defects. If you end up with a situation where you have a lot of defects and you don't have a lot of savings to compensate for that, then you might end up financially strapped, or it might create a hardship for you. So for that reason, the home inspection is actually really important. The next question is, can I do it myself? Well, and you absolutely can. I have made one video about the process of doing it. I do have every intention of making another video of how to do a home inspection. I might entitle that Follow Me Through a Home Inspection, something like that. I don't know exactly what I'm going to entitle the video, but it won't be a lengthy one. It'll be just a quick, short synopsis of the major areas. I'll take you through the roof, the attic, the garage, the home living space, and the crawl space, and just kind of hit the highlights of what it is that we're looking for. So for that question, be looking for that video in the future. When do I call in the home inspector, or when do I call the home inspector, or when do I order the inspection? That question comes up a lot. And if you're doing a new home, you're going to want to coordinate with the builder to make sure that that happens. If you're buying a home, you're going to want to get that done right after you make your purchase and sale agreement. So once you enter into contract with the seller, you will make arrangements immediately to get the home inspection done. You'll want to do that before you order the appraisal, so that in the event we find defects that cannot be resolved, then you can just move on and get your earnest money back, and you will not have spent money on the appraisal. Can a house fail inspection? The answer to that is no, it can't. This really isn't a pass-fail type thing. It's really more of just a way for you to determine what it is that's going on with the home that needs repairs. You can fail it if you want, but we're not going to. We have people that buy homes knowing full well that they're going to do a complete remodel. You'll buy foreclosures that oftentimes are beat up, knowing that you might hire someone or you might do some repairs. And then I suppose if you want to answer that slightly different, if it's a VA loan or an FHA loan, it might not meet certain requirements based on your lending, on your lender. But from our point of view, we really don't get caught up in that. We don't get caught up in, is the home insurable? Those are questions that have guidelines that are specific to insurance companies. They're specific to lenders, and they may be specific to you. So what if the report reveals problems? Well, I spoke to that briefly. If the home has problems, then you can negotiate that with the seller. And the seller is free to not do anything, and then you're also free to not buy the home. But at least if there's problems, you're aware of it and you won't go into it blindly. If the house proves to be in good condition, did I really need an inspection? Well, I suppose after the fact you can say no. Sometimes we go into homes that we really don't find anything wrong. They've been taken care of incredibly well. But realistically, there's no way for you to know that. There's no way for me to know that. We go into homes that look nice on the surface, and when we start digging into it, we start finding hidden defects. And what I mean by hidden is they're really not obvious at first glance. Now, obviously, we can't see through walls and we can't see behind things. But if it's visible and we can see it, we'll find it. And anyway, let's move on here. How long does a home inspection take? The average home takes about an hour per 1,000 square feet. But if the home is only 1,000 square feet, it's still going to take us longer, because it's still got all the major mechanicals, all the kitchen and bathrooms, furnaces, and that kind of stuff. That all takes about an hour and a half minimum on the smallest of homes. So the shortest time would be an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then might start moving up to 3 hours on a larger home. If we have a 3,000 square foot home, I actually plan on 6 hours to do the inspection. If it starts getting larger than that, then I really try to figure that out on a case-by-case basis. Do I have to attend the inspection? So that's kind of a loaded question. A lot of inspectors want the buyer to be present. I personally do not want the buyer present. You're welcome to be present. Here's what happens. Conversations develop, and I get sidetracked with questions that aren't necessarily relevant to the home inspection or what it is that I'm inspecting. Sometimes I'm spending a lot of mental energy trying to figure out how to explain things to the buyer, and rather than dedicating my time to or my energies and focus on doing the inspection, I'm focusing on teaching. And so now I've become a teacher, which in and of itself isn't bad, but I'm really not there to teach you about your home. I'm there to inspect your home. And so when my focus becomes diverted, then I've found that I have missed defects while I'm trying to explain what it is that I'm doing. And so from my point of view, and when you're with me, you put your inspection at risk when you start asking me a lot of questions. Then there's liability issues associated with that, and ultimately, I did the inspection, so I'm liable. So that's not something that I really would like. With that said, there's a risk reduction, meaning if you're present and on site, you can see things for your own eyes, which are a little bit better than looking at a picture. And so interpreting my report is much more simple if you followed me around and we've had conversations about those items. So there's pros and cons to both of those, to whether or not you're there or not. You're going to have to decide if that's... Do new homes need an inspection? Yes, they do. We find a lot of mold in the attic, and in fact, I would say out of the last 5 homes that we've inspected, we have found mold in the attic and on brand new homes. Now, this is not something that normally occurs. It's something that's been occurring as of recent. We suspect that some of the lumber has been out in the lumber yard for too long, getting rained on and getting wet. And then when you build the house, of course, then it gets covered, and the temperatures rise in the attic when the sun comes out in the day, then it'll give the mold a chance to start growing, and we found that it has done that a couple times. In addition to that, we found a lot of other defects. We don't find a lot of defects on a case-by-case basis, but in general, we do find a lot of defects. So I will be making a future video of that. Look for that coming up, new home defects. I'll label it something like that. How do I pay for my inspection? Well, you can pay with us. You can pay in person. You can pay online. So you can pay with a credit card. We'll send you a link to pay by email. So it's really simple and really transparent. We have card swipers, so if you have a credit card or a debit card, we can swipe your card and take it on site. We'll take cash, we'll take money order, checks, whatever. It's all good to us. What if I have questions after the inspection takes place? Well, in that case, you can just simply pick up the phone and give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to go over the report with you. What if I need the inspector to come back and inspect repairs that have been made? After the repairs have been made, and you can give us a call. We will we'll reschedule and come back out and take a look at the repairs that have been completed. We'll let you know if they appear adequate or not adequate. And I have to say, a lot of times they're not, a typical homeowner repair is not the same as a general contractor repair. And so oftentimes we have found that the homeowners have completed repairs in a way that isn't adequate or doesn't look professional. And so we will let you know that, but we're not going to warrant their work. At this time, we were charging $75 for a reinspection fee, and we do that for a couple reasons. Primarily, it takes a couple hours to set the appointment, drive out, take out our equipment, evaluate the work, pack up and leave, and that is time that we can't be inspecting other homes. So one person can do 2 home inspections in a day. If we have a reinspection to do, we can't complete a second home inspection, and if we don't charge, then we're just working for free and we're not making money. So hopefully that is acceptable to you.